Cool. All right, so like I said, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's the second to last semester, or second to last meeting of the semester for Firesoft. Couple announcements. First off, elections were last week. New e-board members include Alex and Dan. Returning members are myself, Jordan, Eric Musser, who's not here right now, and Eric Dudek. And the website should get updated soon with the new e-board. Looking at that, we had one of our e-board meetings earlier today with some of the new members. One of the things that we did was among the comments on surveys. What's up? Yeah. Anyways. Oh, I can do this actually. Yeah. Boom.
Just make it bigger.
I don't know how to do that. I don't know Windows.
Try control.
We'll control and scroll up.
Oh, I'm crazy. So, so the feedback, and we have more surveys for the people that weren't here, since there was a paltry 8 people here for elections. Anyways, we have more surveys that we kind of wanted to like get some feedback from people as to how they thought like the club went this year and what they want to see next year. So you can just fill that out like during the meeting or whatever, and give it to Mike at the end. So one of the feedbacks was that we need to work on like getting PR up to snuff for Firesoft for next year. So one of the things is, for those of you that don't know, a couple of years ago there was a Firesoft Facebook group, and we kind of wanted to start updating that again since the last update was March 2nd, 2009. So if you're not part of that, we're going to start posting like reminders about meetings and stuff through there, and also through a Twitter account which got made today. But as you can see, officers just got updated on here. So you can just, as long as you're part of the Michigan State Network, you can join that group as just Spartasoft. And we're also on Twitter as Spartasoft. As you can see, there's a meeting today at 7, and Jordan's presenting. So that's exciting. So if you have Twitter, make sure to follow us. As far as more general news goes, as I said, this is the second to last meeting. Next weekend is the Mod Jam. How many people here are planning on participating? How many people here have like kind of like a discussion? It's a little weird. Jam. Like project where they're looking to collaborate with, or are looking to collaborate? Should you want? Okay, we'll start. We'll start with who is more. Maybe Anthony. Anthony's always looking for friends. Is it golden or end with an egg? Either. Anyways, or want to get involved with something. I don't know anyone. I'm just in there. No type of weird like. Is Dustin for people? I guess it's leaders on that. Yeah, Andrew's always looking for help, by the way. Anthony's looking for yeah, trying to just fix Dust AI. Also, I suppose, yeah. Okay, so there are some people looking for help if you're interested in hopping on a team, or if you have your own project, feel free to mod jam yourself. Totally, mod jam is the most suitable time of the year to ever do a game jam by yourself because it's all about what you want to see happen and features that you want to improve and whatnot on whatever you've been working on or want to work on. And let me see here. And then that Sunday, we'll do kind of postmortems for the Mod Jam. The Mod Jam is going to kick off at 6 p.m., right? Is when we kick things off. Okay, no, actually, yeah. 6:30 and then kick off at 7. So we'll meet at 6:30 in 246. Is that right? Man, I should have written this down.
Upstairs?
The lab that we normally meet in for
Mac lab?
The Mac lab, yes.
Table lab, yeah. Most of the Mac lab.
Is it the wooden table lab, or is it going to be the where we had 445?
No one's in the wooden table lab.
Okay, the wooden table lab is 246.
No one has classes on Friday.
Is the gym lab's going to be open for the Mod Jam?
Not really.
No.
But all of the labs are 24 hours now, so be happy and rejoice. As long as you're there by 10, and if you have somebody there in the building.
Is it all the labs, or is it just the wooden table lab?
The wooden table lab, the Mac lab,
Across
the room that has the copiers in it, and I think maybe one of the other labs as well.
42.
In the global everyone was
That's not right. There's supposed to be labs, if I recall correctly.
That's what I thought. I thought it was
It's not. It's like
You're correct.
but
I mean, I said
people that are maintenance or whatnot, or whatever the do that. And they kicked everyone out of the lab the first week. They were supposed to be 24 hours. The email, so that way you know which one is. Just kind of stuff, and then so that we can aim to have more than for Sunday, normal meeting, we here, last meeting of the semester. Postforms, presenting about what they do, some projects that they're going to have. Some but nobody, I don't think. Piece technology. For sure, Jolly has no. But yeah, they're based on. So that and then also, yeah, I think that concludes. And then finally, meeting Friday will be before 4:05. House 24 Milford. We're gonna do what or fast. Okay. So if anyone has a TV, right? Are we usually good on TVs? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like the only thing that we usually have is like Cornish Springs is ridiculous.
Rock band setup.
set up and his 1,000 download songs.
But yeah, we kind of moved away from Rock Band last time.
Yeah.
You have a Connect.
Yeah, I have a Connect.
Are there any games people want to play at the last games party this semester?
Wow, that's a great question.
Does anybody actually play StarCraft? Anybody?
We can set up. We can bring a table down there for one of the sides for people to start.
I haven't played.
And by that,
in like half a semester.
I hope it turns into what this last Friday turned in for us, and we just play Nexus Word Wars.
Yeah, Word Wars!
I've actually played in custom games, so that might make more sense.
It was a lot of fun. But, so it's actual StarCraft.
Any other suggestions?
Melee, Mario Kart 64.
We've got a Game Boy, or not Game Boy, a GameCube with a VGA adapter in the Gel Lab now. We should totally bring that. Yeah, for sure. And that adapter will work with the N64 and the GameCube. So it'd be really easy to project that.
I will tell you, I did. We played Mario Kart 64 on the projector once, and it was kind of nauseating. But
Okay.
that's also my weak stuff.
And I'll make sure to bring away words. Alright, any other?
No, it was just weird.
Another about that next. Also, directions. What? All right, unless anyone else has like about pitches or whatnot. Is anyone else listening to me? Thumbs up. I think we're good. We're going to move on to the president. Still needs 20 bucks. Jordan, also I mentioned Twitter and mentioned stuff as well.
How's it going? I already messed up my. This is fantastic. And all right, before I start my presentation, exciting announcement. We are currently streaming our meeting as well as recording it, so we can keep this in our logs or whatever. There we go. So yes, it will be online in the future. So you guys, after this awesome presentation is over and you want to relive the glory over and over again, it will be online. Hopefully we'll have more content and we'll post normal meetings and such. But we just figured this out like an hour ago, so it's super exciting. With that said, I know. Presentation's over, demo time. I'm Jordan, I'm the vice president, as I'm sure all of you know. And I'm going to give a presentation on level design and whiteboxing. What does whiteboxing mean for level design? And I'm going to tie it all up with a demo in Unreal, how to whitebox in Unreal, because most of us don't have any experience in Unreal, and it's kind of becoming an industry standard to know what you're doing in there. So when I started the presentation, I thought about what I'd name it, and I started with whiteboxing, simplifying level design. And I found calling it simple is almost an insult to designers, because in a way, whiteboxing is the most fundamental, important part to level design. So I decided to change the name to whiteboxing, the playable form. And we'll get to what that means later on in the presentation. And I know all of you probably are asking, what is whiteboxing? Does anyone know what whiteboxing is? Okay, excellent. This presentation is for everyone, but those guys. You guys can leave. Have a good one, Ray. But before we get to whiteboxing, there's something more important that we need to learn about. Is what is level design, because they go hand in hand. Whiteboxing is level design.
But we already know level design.
You have to stay because you don't know whiteboxing. This all leads to a point. So, level design is very nice. It's vast and varied. It's present in just about any video game you play. It's a shooter. My computer doesn't like run Ustream and PowerPoint. It's a strategy game. It's multiplayer games. It's single player games. This one's for Sean. It's puzzle games. It's MMOs. This is Tarzan. Wow. Level 70, hell yeah. It's a 2D game, Super Metroid. It's descriptive. Does anyone remember the Happy New Year scene from BioShock? It's like the first level after the tutorial. Go play it, it's pretty sweet. It's dynamic. It's addicting. And it's awesome. I'm going to go on a side rant on this. Does anyone know what this is?
Vegas.
Yes. For those who don't know, there's this military camp in New Vegas, way in the corner of the map. And they have these giant statues. These statues don't look that good. Like if you look really closely at the model and the way they're positioned, it's kind of shabby. But in the game, you can see these statues from at least halfway across the map. And at 90% of the time, there's mountains in between you and the statue, so it seems like it's impossible to get there. But if you eventually travel down into the corner, you slowly get closer and closer to statues, and you come around a bend in the mountains, and it's just this long, gradual hill up to these statues with just vacated cars, like it's a highway. And it was one of the coolest experiences I've had in a video game, because I saw it from so far away, and then I got up close, and it's just as massive as you thought. You're like, you can see you're just as tall as roughly this car. You barely reach the ankle, and it's in game, and you can see it from anywhere. And of course, they probably do a lot of tricks to put this in there, but this is a level designer. He planned this out. He planned for you to be able to see it. And he planned its position in the world and how you get there. And the effect when you turn that corner, you see up this hill, this massive structure. It's awesome. If any of you are interested in New Vegas, watch out for that, because it really made me happy. Level design is anything you play, right? It's a level in any game. Now, some games might not have levels, but it's debatable. But for now, let's assume the games we're talking about have levels. And this one's going to seem kind of silly, but level design is anything the level designer creates. And this seems kind of roundabout, but it brings up another very good question. What is a level designer? I swear, this all gets to a point. Level designer is, that guy who thinks of the levels. Like, some kind of idea man, right? No, never fucking think about that, ever. There's no such thing as an idea man. What a level designer is, someone who designs the levels, and there's a big difference. I promise you. A level designer designs and implements. Notice the wording, designs and implements. Scene composition. This is things as key objects, such as those large statues we saw, and visuals and level. It's moments like turning the corner to see that statue far away in beautifully framed shots around from the mountains. All right, a level designer designs and implements lighting, puts in lights all over the place, affects their values very minutely over time to get the perfect dramatic effect. For example, Dead Space 2 had something like 20 people just on lighting, and it has a huge impact on the game. If you ever play the game, like flickering lights, low-level shadows everywhere, and it adds infinitely to the experience. A level designer designs and implements environmental storytelling. There's another time in New Vegas where you're in a hotel, and the last room on the left, the lock is locked, and you pick it, and you go inside, and there's nothing in the room except for in the bathroom. There's a skeleton in the bathtub with its arm hanging over the side, and there's like the game's drugs at the bottom of his hand. He's a drug addict, OD'd in the hotel. And there's no text for this. There's no journals, no logs, anything. It's just all through the environment that a level designer set up for you to find. Level design is triggered events. It's anything from getting a door to slide open when you step on a panel to, in-game cutscenes. You could consider level designers could do that. Level designers design and implement the challenge of the game. They place cover points, enemy spawns, just about anything you fight against in any game. Level designers in particular, are setting those up. In multiplayer games, they balance the game. They adjust weapon spawns, ammo spawns, unit build time, any of that. Any of those logs that you see, battle cruisers speed increase from 1.75 to 1.875. Level designer, in a way, looked into all that and balanced that. It's not as relevant to StarCraft, I realize. It's more for shooters, weapon spawn points and such. There is a separate position of balance designer. There is a difference, but continuing on. A level designer designs and implements anything you play in the level. Again. But this is my personal definition for what a level designer is. The designer that takes all the work done for the game and implements it into a playable form. Emphasis on the playable form. We'll get to that later when we get to whiteboxing. Now, what qualifies as a playable form? Damn good question. Detour, quick. How do you make a level? All right, good, you're in the right place. This tutorial is going to be awesome for you guys. All right, how do you make a level? Step 1. Ideas. Now, I said there's no such thing as an idea man, but there are still ideas in game development. And this is where your sketchbooks come into play, scribbling things on cocktail napkins, whiteboards, my personal favorite, referencing the game design document sometimes if it's later in a project. Also in step 1 is the who, what, when, where, why, and how. You know, who's in the levels? If there's multiple playable characters, which characters are in there? What abilities would they have then? You know, what is the player objective? When, what time of day? You know, maybe certain creatures come out at night, like, you know, Minecraft style. Does that affect how you set up your level? Where is it? It's going to be a lot different if it's on a space station than in the jungle. You know, why is the player there? What is their specific goal? But most importantly, how? How's the level playing out? How is everything you planned going to happen? How are you going to implement it? And how is the player going to experience it? This is the pinnacle of the duty of a level designer. And then we skip to step 3. You get a nice, complete, and polished level. But obviously, there's something in between. Sean Henry Adams, welcome to Skype. You get a complete and polished game level ready to be shipped. What's step 2? Anyone know what step 2 is? Trial and error. Technically, yes.
Is step 3 profit?
No, but step 1 is collecting underwear. Anyone what step 2? Step 2 is whiteboxing. Oh yeah, what? Oh my god. This is my personal definition of whiteboxing. I actually did several Google searches on whiteboxing, and there was no static sources or definitions or anything referenced. Very few people even use the term whiteboxing, but I'm sure, I can guarantee you every studio implements the whiteboxing in some way, shape, or form. And what I said whiteboxing is the act of creating a level in the simplest playable form, void of fancy environments, special effects, detailed models, etc. Come on, computer. Emphasis on the playable form. Playable, important word. Instead of detailed models, you use literally white boxes. Is a very straightforward title, whiteboxing. You use it for floors, obstacles, cover, etc. And then on top of that, you still add in your enemies, weapons, basic scripted events, you know, enemy encounter, maybe a boss fight. You still put all those in there. Hopefully you have something done from your programmers by then for that. And your other designers, they're responsible too. And after whiteboxing, you should be able to play through the level in its entirety exactly as you planned. All right? Even though there aren't the models and the art as much, the game should still be the same from that point to when it's polished and shiny. That's the whole point why you're whiteboxing. But why take the time? You know, a lot of people say, cut out step 2. If you just go from step 1 to step 3, you save all that time to step 2, because step 2 is just going to be all redone. No one's actually going to use the white boxes as their final level. It's going to be deleted and replaced with professional level art. And why take the time? Because it's effective, and it saves you time in the long run. Why? Any designer can do it. You know, there are specifically level designers, but it speaks to a lot of fundamentals of design, of gameplay specifically. And every designer should know something about level design. And especially in small groups, get every designer you can to be whiteboxing, to be making levels, to at least be on step 1, graphing out. Because the more people putting knowledge into level design, the better it will be in the end. The more the merrier. It allows you to quickly prototype levels. Iteration is key. It gets your ideas in a more concrete state in a timely fashion so you can play test it. This allows you to weed out awkward or bad ideas. Some things look fantastic on paper, and then you play it and it's the most boring thing you'll ever see or play or experience. It gets you down to the roots of level design. It's level design in the simplest form. There's no special fancy art or particle effects. Which brings us to this point, which I'll get to, I'm sorry. It also allows for easy iteration. You're going to be doing things over a lot, and you need to learn to embrace this. This is something you have to accept. So once you embrace it, you can see how much quality it will add to your game. Your level isn't going to be done the first time you create it in whitebox form. You're going to have to go back. You're probably going to have to restart it. But if you understand this is part of the process, it will help you so much in the future. And it's because if it is fun in the whitebox form, it will be fun when completed. I guarantee you, if the gameplay is just as much, or the same way as it is in whitebox form as it is when it's completed, it will be a blast if it's fun to begin with. But I can't teach you how to do that. So, why take the time? It makes you a better designer. There's no such thing as an idea man. A cool setting is not a game. A setting can be an important part of a gameplay experience. It can affect gameplay, it can affect game mechanics, but it can't stand alone. For example, BioShock, one of the greatest settings in video games, right? Everyone who's played BioShock, blown away by the setting, I hope, right? But it's still, if you took out the shooter mechanic, there's no way it's a game. No way. It still needs gameplay. It makes you a better designer. It focuses on your fundamentals, because you get away you can't say, well, we have this level to set up for this awesome pre-rendered cutscene. That's not in the whiteboxing. You're not going to see it in a whitebox form. The level has to be fun, and you learn what makes your game fun and what doesn't. Whiteboxing will allow you to find standardizations for like X amount of cover locations for Y amount of enemies. Things you can apply to every other level of the game in the future. So as you make levels early on, the future levels will go faster because you know how your game functions on such a fundamental, basic level of things that number crunching, theoretical design just can't get you. Did I mention rapid prototyping? Very important. Okay, cool. The most important, probably what you guys care most about, is the industry really expects it. I went to a lot of talks at GDC, and especially one, specifically, what does the industry expect from new hirees? And level designer is the most common entry-level design position that they look for. And that's because it offers the most concrete product that a designer can give to the person hiring them. Of course you can design a full-fledged game and give it to them, but they have to then play through that whole game to truly understand what you're doing. If you design a level for StarCraft or Counter-Strike or Unreal Tournament and give it to them, they already, hopefully they already know how that game functions, and they can see how your decisions very more accurately why they've been implemented and how effective they are. Hiring companies want to see example levels. It doesn't matter how, in what shape or form. It allows them to easily play what you've produced. Level designers, like I said, have a very rare opportunity where they have a concrete product very quickly. And yes, I know the question came up a lot at GC, and preemptively I figured someone might ask it. Use existing resources. If you're using Unreal Engine, they give you a lot of models and static meshes to use to help design a level. Use them, because it's about how the game plays, not what it looks like. Unless if you're also applying for an art job, you might want to put in your own art. That's a side note. Just make sure you give credit. Make sure you say somewhere models were from the Unreal Engine or from whatever website you took them from. But if you can, also offer white box levels. For sure have a white box level, but if possible, give them a white box version of the level you gave them with full static meshes. That way they can see your thought process from step 2 to 3. And it's very important, they want to know if not only your product aligns with what they want, but how your thinking aligns with the rest of their teams at companies. So what can you white box with? Google SketchUp is an up-and-coming one. Holla, Mike, yeah. Google, for those that don't know, Google has like some basic architecture program almost that you can download and try for free. It's cool, check it out. It can also be used in step 1 I mentioned, because it makes a SketchUp of what you want to do, and then you can export it as a model. It might not be the best thing to prototype to actually white box with, because you can't make changes to the model in Engine, unlike things like Unity. Use your primitive shapes in Unity. Just put boxes and cylinders everywhere to simulate your level and playtest it. All this collision scripts and stuff are already on them. You don't have to go through a whole bunch of mess exporting, importing, worrying if your artist set up the models correctly. You can still just playtest. But the industry really wants to see Unreal, and this is because it's a more complex engine than Unity. Unity's on the rise, but if you're going to a AAA job, they want to know that you have Unreal experience, because most likely they're going to have to teach you some new software that they use in-house, whether it be tools or just a completely new game engine. And if you have experience with something as complicated as Unreal, you have something to compare their stuff to and learn it more quickly. So that being said, I'm going to do a very basic quick demo on Unreal, just so you guys can see what it looks like. I'm not going to do anything fancy. Don't bother following along. I just wanted to break down any fears you may have of how scary Unreal is. Yes, it is poorly designed in many ways, but it's just not that bad. So my computer might be a little slow because I'm running Unreal, OpenOffice isn't the cleanest, and all the streaming stuff. So bear with me. And if you guys have any questions, hopefully specific, go ahead and while I'm doing this free form. It's a bad idea to try to do it in the presentation, but we'll give it a try. This is what I thought was like my why, yes, students Unreal. Much in the Unity fashion, you can get and produce something on it for free. And the deal is to out an Unreal product, then you start paying them for the engine. If you want to tool around it, you can download a public version that is, doesn't have as much of a community help base. But yeah, really quick. Everything I learned about Unreal, I learned there's an Unreal Getting Started page. Okay, I'm definitely not going to go through all the. We'll send the link out later because my computer isn't like me right now. I might have to stop the stream. Sorry to anyone at home watching my awesome presentation. Yeah, but Mike, are you watching it right now? Anyway. Okay. There's a link. A third party do the links online. There's something like 200 roughly of just. I'm like 70 in right now, so I'm showing you the basics of what I've learned. They're pretty good videos. They're definitely worth the time if you're trying to learn Unreal. Okay, so this is Unreal, and you have your different windows. I believe this is the top view of your level, and these are the two side views, and this is your in-game view. Can you see my mouse? Excellent. So the in-game view is where you're going to be spending most of your time and attention. The others are mostly used for editing details. For anyone that's used Maya before, it's very similar workflow, except you have all of them open all at once more often than not. There are multiple ways to control. I'll only tell you the one I mainly use. It's if you hold down the right button, you can WASD move, which is pretty sweet. Here, this is our level. This is very Tron-esque. You can't really see it. We're gonna cool if I turn off more lights? No one's gonna fall asleep? You okay, Sean?
I got right behind.
Okay. Can you see it a little better? We'll be adding stuff to make it less dark, but this very Tron-esque grid is where your level is. And that red thing in the middle is called your red builder brush, original name. The way whiteboxing works in Unreal is you set up a bunch of what they call brushes. That's an outline for actual meshes to go, and then when you build it, it puts in the actual models of the level, but you can't actually affect the models. You affect their template, which is the brush. I'll show you. Don't worry. Oh God. This is our red builder brush. It's not actually, like I said, a model yet. Go and build geometry. This button up here is build geometry. You also have to do things like build lighting, which I'll have to show later. And it still didn't show up. You see here on your window at the bottom, each of the different views, different ways to look at things. Right now, I'm in brush wireframe, so we're just seeing wireframe. So I'm going to go over here into unlit. Oh, it still didn't show up. I forgot. It's very good. Okay, over here is CSG add. It just adds the geometry.
What is CSG?
I forgot to look it up. Silly that it didn't really. The thing about this geometry stuff, I wouldn't actually make a level with this because it's very taxing and it's not very pretty. So whiteboxing, you can lay out all the level very quickly, and then just run it in Unreal. I'll show you that later. So you see, there's our geometry. Come on. And this is our brush. So geometry doesn't move until then. So I'm gonna delete, and I'm gonna add. Oh God. Well, I'm gonna let's make a room. Let's just room. I right-clicked over here on your basic brushes. They give you a template. I right-clicked on the cube, and it gives me things for what I want my cube to be. My settings from before. To note, in Unreal, Y is up, Z is up. So for those of you who have do not be alarmed if things seemed like rotated. It's because the axes are considered different. So I'm going to build this base cube brush. You see the brush down here. Can you guys see this? Can everyone see this? All right. That will be our floor. I can build really quick. I forgot to add it again. There we go. Delete that. Yep, see, very quickly, let's go over again. These are your side views here and here, and this is your top view. You can zoom out and right-click to drag around. You see that's our floor. And that red outline is the brush. Okay, see, my cube is gone now. So now we have a floor. So you can do something really cool in Unreal. And you just right-click and you say, play from here. And then it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're casting live. All right, this is our level of fire. Can't even see the floor. Don't know why. There's no. Thank you, John. Anyone besides John know why? Thank you, Mike. So you just hold down. You hold down and click. It just places a light for you. Side to move things around. You hit SPAR to cycle to the different form of translation, location, and scale, and it cycles through. It's something you learn to live with. Okay, so if I said play from here again, you still could in the lights. So I'm going to come to, where's build all? Build all just builds everything that's buildable.
What are the build times looking on this, Jordan, so far? So let's say you
this would usually be instant, but I'm running, the stream off my computer, so it's kind of slow right now. Yeah, lighting's going to take a while. We'll probably skip. I'll probably skip showing you the final product because of it. But to build the whole level, if you have like a complex level, it's going to take like 20 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
That's just lighting though. Like geometry and stuff can build really quickly because it can inherently bake in the light maps as just building it. It's what bake. I mean, John, feel free to correct me because this isn't my department of expertise, but it bakes the light maps pretty much whenever you build it, and which in Unity can sometimes be a long process. So, like, plan around building lights.
So it makes by default.
What?
Does it by default?
I don't quite remember, but I know it's just like a checkbox in the lighting properties. I think it does. Yeah, you have to set something to be a dynamic light, otherwise it bakes it. Come on. All right. So I can't show you the demo anymore because of the lag. But really quick, before you guys go make your own levels, now that we have this floor, if we say I wanted to edit it, up here is geometry mode, which turns into a very, very rough vertex editing modeling program. As you see here, I can move these two verts, make it longer, change its position, move it around, change how the floor is. You can also select an edge, which is actually really difficult. Like I said, it's not exactly the easiest program to use. And you can split it. You know, you can add in detail, you can add in verts, you can add in edges, and then you can go ahead and move these around, so we can get an odd-looking V sort of floor to our level. And remember, it doesn't update until you build the geometry. It's probably complaining about the lights. Oh, I lost it. Also be careful, I've had problems undoing brush edits. It's not the best designed tools. Dude.
So anytime you do something on Unreal, you have to actually...
Depends what you're doing. With the builder brushes, yes. Like I said, it sets a template and then it builds it all. But if you're doing things with static meshes, it moves it in real time.
So if you brought in your own stuff?
Yeah, if you brought in your own models. This is just for whiteboxing. This seems kind of frustrating right now, but once you get the workflow of the brushes down, you know, you can set up the thing is, you can set up very, very accurate levels. Because you see this grid up here on all the other ones. Change down here the space between each grid. Normally 8 works a lot better, and everything's automatically. So if you need to make very specific level dimensions, you get closely to.
So you not end up using brushes for final geometry?
No, it's just sometimes for like floors and stuff. Like if you just need really simple floor. Collision data. Yeah, I think it. I the level I haven't gotten to things.
So
it's only.
So you do like not just like
And I mean, yeah, you can brushes invisible. They're like differences in Unity. The Unreal was just some sample levels, and then they sometimes to like even out a terrain in a certain area, or like they needed like a landing platform on top of their pre-existing terrain, and so they just built a very simple brush that builds a simply textured object. It's for very, you know, basic shapes and forms. You don't want to do anything complicated. Like you don't. The big thing is like where you start drawing the line is you don't want to make stairs with the builder brush, because it does not calculate faces very easily or very well. It doesn't generate them very well. You can do a lot more efficiently if done by hand. From here, since it's a little frustrating to use with the streaming, if anyone wants to see something specific that I know, I can show you.
So maybe I missed this, but when you hit play, like, you move around?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's just the light. There wasn't any light.
Where does it place you? How do you know that?
If you're doing the right click, and say play from here, it's wherever you right clicked. You can set spawn points. Eventually, you will if you try. You can also like build it, and it will launch it in a separate window for you as like a standalone exe. But you need a spawner point for that. Mike.
What are the prefabs that are provided to you besides models?
Okay, very good. This will allow me to show the content browser. This is essentially the project folder in Unity in a much more complex, glorified manner. And you can sort by what you're looking for. You can search. You can give things tags. You can group them specifically how you want. It's just big. It's just a big organizational method. This interfaces with everything else you'll do in Unreal. And not very directly. Like you click on something, like this bush, and then you can close out a content and right click and just say like add actor somewhere.
More play level.
What?
A little bit lower.
Third from the bottom.
Yeah, add actor. Load grounds too. It's fickle too. Sometimes I've had trouble. It it won't register the one I'm clicking on that time. Play with. That's how it works in theory. So I started by static. Not all of these. Let's see. Something like. Oh, that's not the keyword. I keep using the keyboard. Some like pre-fret statues. Let me try to load one of the exam levels. That will just prominently display everything. But if you really want, they have a lot of stuff, so download it and just check it out yourself.
Can you drag and drop stuff in the content browser and stuff?
Yes. I'll show that in a sec. Which one? Damn. Only find the current version because I had to download it separately from my laptop. So some minor things might be different, just interface-wise. The videos are way back from like 2x Unreal, so a lot of interface things aren't there that they say are, but everything functions and your workflow. Come on, computer, don't blow up yet. There's some good models here. There's the like anything from the Unreal game can be implemented with spawn points and stuff. There's a car here. Yeah, Unreal can get complicated fast, as you can see. Still not my keyboard. These are cars you can utilize. All these textures are part of the whole package. You see this thing here? This means that this area is a trigger when you want to use triggers in Unity. And I'm guessing, I haven't looked at this level before, this isn't in my version. Alright, you see all these blue brushes? That's the builder brush stuff that I was showing you. So if you go back into lit mode and turn back on static meshes, get out of the floor. Yeah, all these buildings and stuff are included.
So those do use brushes
for like floors and stuff. They'll use them occasionally. But it's recommended that if you have time to make your own for the final product.
So how do you make it?
You just import.
Oh.
Yeah, you import meshes. That's what I meant. Okay, anything else? It's a very specific form of and you can do it you want to do it for all your levels. You're not prototyping is usually towards a game. You're prototyping levels. It's called whiteboxing because you already mechanics so you play with those game mechanics in the boxes. So it's more dimensions and out something like that. Okay.
And you can like switch over
Yeah.
what project I built on, and also so the reason why 247s require designers to have the game issues is just because like
Yeah,
you can it's a project where designer might basically watch the entire level status and collision data inside of Unity.
Yeah.
Between Unity and Unreal, how well scripts and assets are being utilized? Or if you want to import a game from Unity into Unreal or a game from
Well,
Unity,
I know Unreal uses its own script.
it would require replication, basically.
Yeah.
I know you can. There's no
In-
solution, but
Porting an Unreal script, code would need to be clear, and because Unreal is a very different style
Yeah.
of scripting. It's still like syntax.
it still uses like C++.
But the bit is that in Unreal, it's like careful provider. In Unreal, you can classes plans of the structure of something that in Unreal is going to be great. The structure of something which is going to be projects.
Yeah.
Our assets, though.
Yeah. And pretty much only our assets. Kind of this,
Something that
this abstract
Yeah.
floating beast that is in between all the developers. Okay. Any other questions? Anyone curious about the tutorial videos? Anyone curious about Unreal? Yeah. All right. We'll send out an email about that. And yeah.
It's a really simple question, but like when you hit that build button,
Yeah.
Is everything pretty much provided? Like I noticed you were already first person. You had a nice little UI going. After you built the level, does it make it
When you play the level, there's a difference between building the level and playing
after
the
you
level.
built it and then you tell it to go play it?
Yeah.
Like it's already.
That's the
set up,
default
right?
Unreal Tournament stuff.
Right.
I don't know if you can like replace that with your own, like once you have your own game engine
That's what I was
up and
kinda
running.
thinking,
You'll be able to do it with your own game assets. It just defaults to the Unreal stuff. In the tutorials I've only gone through like setting up a level as though it were Unreal. Yeah.
How does this interface with the other tools? Like,
The other.
level design
Yeah.
right?
If you have the object selected in this window and you pull up that window, you reference it. But it's even rough to me. When you click on the icon for that content, you can click the content and it remembers what that content browser is, and you can add to your C without having a content browser open. It's kind of weird. So getting used to it. Okay. Matinee is the animating. I'll get to Kismet because Matinee is the animation for Unreal. It has its own specific. And it's cool. It will use the animation of an object in the yellow. Kismet is a visual scripting tool that Unreal uses. Just starting to answer more than that.
And these are separate programs.
They're here, so. Or no, open the content browser, and then. Oh, here. But they all interface. They all interface through the main. I don't have any experience with it, but it'll be you have like a little box. You'll have an out port. So if you have a trigger, you can say when triggered, link to sound effect. The play on a sound effect. Yeah, I'm sure. Questions? I just wanted to show you the interface of Unreal. I'm sorry I can't answer too many questions because I'm still learning it myself. Sean?
Just double check in case anyone's curious. It's just Windows, right? You can't.
Right. It's just Windows, which is weird because their big thing is you can have Unreal games on iPhones. I don't know that build process very well, but
I'm gonna guess it. Do you know anything about it? I'm gonna guess it works like Unity, where the build just gives you an Xcode project, and then you'd have to move it over to a Mac. And
yeah, probably. But
It's like a lot of virtual desktops.
yeah.
Not really powerful machines.
questions? All right, I'll send out a link with the where all the videos are, and we'll see if we can post this online, hopefully. Thank you. John, is there anything else?
No, that concludes everything. If you have shirts.
Yeah, if you want t-shirts, John has them.
If you have